Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So today we're in my laundry room because I'm having issues with my dryer. So this is my Samsung dryer. What typically happens with my dryer is if it was running normally, I would set it to a normal dryer cycle. An indicator up here would say 53 minutes or however much longer it's going to take for the cycle to complete. I will go ahead and press start. The clothes will start tumbling, it will heat up, it'll start drying, and this indicator of time remaining in the cycle will just start decreasing and decrementing, right? As you would expect. Now, everything is hunky-dory until this timer reaches 1. This is where my dryer is having problems. When it comes down to that last final minute of drying, it will never ever finish. It will just keep on reading 1 minute left, 1 minute left, 1 minute left, and no matter how long you let it sit there, it will never finish the cycle. The heater stays on and it is still warm. It's almost like it's trying to finish and complete drying all of the clothes, even though the clothes are completely dry. So what we're gonna have to do is let's open this up and get at the heater box. And you might think that this is a problem with one of those humidity sensors, but we're gonna see that it's not actually the humidity sensor that's causing the problem. So to see that, like I said, we're gonna have to disassemble this. Now, in the interest of time, I actually made a completely separate video talking about the disassembly of this dryer. So I'm not gonna cover that right now. If you're interested in seeing how to disassemble this, it's actually super duper easy. Feel free to check out this video over here, which details all of the disassembly processes, and you'll see that it really just takes pretty much a screwdriver to get a couple of these panels off. So I'm gonna assume that you have gone ahead and watched that video or you know how to disassemble this. So let's go ahead and do that and get access to the heater box down there. So I will join you back here as soon as you've got that all done. All right, so we pulled the heater box out, as you can see, and if we look inside, let me bend this a little bit out of the way so you can see a little bit better. Inside, that's the heating element, and what I had done is I actually had recently replaced this heating element inside here. You can see it's all bright and shiny and new looking. In fact, let me show you the old one, right? This is the old heating element, okay? Now, what's interesting is, again, if you look at this heating element, notice that there's a resistive coil, right? And there are all of these little ceramic standoffs all around, which is used to make sure that the conductive heating element is not contacting this metal base plate, okay? And the reason why is because you don't want the resistive heating element, which obviously has a lot of current flowing through it, you don't want any of that current running to the base plate, and since that base plate is hooked up to the box here, this heating box, you want to isolate this heating element electrically from the rest of the box. Now, if you look inside here, the problem is I was not careful. I don't know if you can see that right, gosh, that's gonna be really hard to see. Let me see if I can kind of just point to it maybe with like a screwdriver or something like that. But right there, you can see I was, right where the tip of my screwdriver is, I was not careful in how I bent these wires, and it's actually contacting this metal base plate, which is then obviously screwed into this housing. So the problem is the resistive heating coil is electrically connected to this box. And we can see that if I go ahead and grab an ohm meter. Okay, let me just get a multimeter here, switch this to measuring resistance, okay? And if I look at one of these leads connected to the box, uh-oh, that's a problem, right? There is continuity between the lead and the metal housing. So that's the problem, right? The problem is that these two leads are supposed to be not electrically connected to the box. So it is literally just the problem of I was not careful in how I bent this wire. So what I'm gonna have to do is let's just bend this wire away a little bit so that it is not touching the interior metal base plate, and therefore it is not touching the rest of this box. So let me just re-bend that wire and we'll check this again. Let me see if I can bend it up. And I'm gonna give it some space too, because you gotta remember, this thing is gonna get hot and thermal cycle and potentially expand a little bit, so you wanna make sure there's some clearance. So now that's a little bit better, right? Now you can clearly see I've got a nice big air gap between the coil and the base plate. So now let's try this again. Okay, now between the coil, right, on one of those leads, and then I'll test the box. Uh-oh, I've got another location where it's touching. So let's keep looking through this and see if there's other locations where the coil might be touching the box, and see if we can fix that. All right, so I had to even open it back up to get a better look at where the contact was being made. And again, here it is. If you look at this, boy, that's kind of silly. I think it must have gotten bent in shipping or something like that, but you can see this coil is coming around and touching that metal part of this bracket. So again, I think we're gonna have to re-bend this a little bit and get that out of the way. So just hopefully give it a little bit of an air gap so that it won't be touching. And there we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so again, while I guess we have this open, maybe we should go around and check, make sure that, right, the coils are nicely stood up on these ceramic offsets and are not touching the plate anywhere metal. So let's do that. We'll go button it back up and we'll test continuity again. All right, so we've gotten it all buttoned back up. So let's give this a try again. So let's go ahead and test the continuity between that lead and now the box. There we go. That's what we're looking for. We are looking for infinite resistance, or basically a open circuit. So the box now is not connected to the lead. And again, just for giggles, we can try it on the other side, but that shouldn't matter. On the other lead, this should also be, yep, overload, infinite open circuit. So great. So now, hopefully we've got the electrical resistive coil isolated from the rest of the box. All right, so we've got our electrically isolated heating element installed in the box. Everything's buttoned back up. So now all we need to do is just reinstall the heating box into the dryer and close everything up. And again, in the interest of time, I won't talk about the process of how to get this back in. I will instead leave a link in the description of this video to my other video where it has timestamps about the disassembly, the reassembly process, all that kind of stuff. So again, check that video out if you want to see how to get all this in and out easily. But without further ado, yeah, let's reinstall this and see if it fixes the problem. All right, so let's see if that fixed it. So we'll turn it on. Okay, it's on a normal cycle. Looks like it's estimating 44 minutes left. So let's start it. Okay, there it goes. It's running now. Let's cross our fingers and hope that this counter will just go down and shut off automatically. So let's give it, yeah, about 44 minutes and we'll be back to see if it worked. All right, so this is actually a little interesting. So it's a couple of minutes into the drying cycle and the timer actually went up from 44 minutes. It initially went up to about an hour and 4 minutes estimated time remaining. Now it's down to an hour and 2 minutes remaining. So actually this gives me confidence that the humidity sensors down there in the heater box are actually working, and the dryer realizes that the clothes here are a little bit more damp than usual and it's gonna take a little bit longer than expected to finish it. So, oh yeah, and there it goes down, hour and 1 minute. So let's come back here in now about an hour and we'll see if the timer actually goes all the way down and if the dryer cycle terminates properly. It finished! Perfect! And now just playing its ending music, but there we go. I think that worked. All right, so it turned out it was just that electrical connection where the resistive coil was accidentally touching the heater box. But now, look at that. It completed, it ended. The cycle finished just like normal, so it did not get stuck on that silly 1 minute left, and I think we're done. So, there you have it. I think this is probably a great spot to leave it. So as you saw, this is a really easy fix. So if you have this problem where your dryer is stuck at just that 1 minute mark, maybe take a look at that heater box and see if the resistive coils have somehow moved and are now touching either that metal plate or the heating box itself. So again, remember that heating coil, it's heating up and cooling, heating and cooling. So over time, you know, it's possible that maybe it moved a little. So when yours was installed, maybe it was already really close, and then just that little amount of heating was able to make it contact the outside, which would have caused this problem. Or if you were like me and you had just recently replaced or reinstalled or put in a new heating coil, and if you weren't careful about it and had it touching the side of the heating box, that would cause the issue. But as you saw, this is a super quick fix, really easy. It took me probably only about 20 minutes to disassemble this, rebend that part, reassemble everything, and now it's up and running again. So don't buy a new dryer, don't pay a repairman for it. This is something you can quickly and easily do by yourself. So, like I said, I think this is probably a great spot to leave it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, I also hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Surprisingly, if you scroll a little ways down and click on that subscribe button, it really does help me continue making these videos. And remember, the new videos come out every Monday, so I hope we'll catch you at a future discussion and we can all learn something new together. So until then, I think I'll sign off. Talk to you later. Bye.